Carbohydrates for boxing, otherwise known as carbs. So they're our main fuel source used for boxing. You perform at high intensity exercise. Carbohydrates fuel that. So eating carbohydrates at strategic times throughout the day is really important for your performance and also recovery, especially if you're maybe doing 2 sessions a day. They play a huge role in fueling training sessions, but what many people fail to realise, it fuels our immune system. So our immune system is predominantly fueled by carbohydrates. So if you go on a low carb diet, this is where you're going to increase your risk of getting ill, especially around training sessions. So most of people, when they're making weight and they really reduce carbohydrates, and then they're trying to train as well, just really get cold, get flu symptoms, etc. So carbohydrates come in 2 forms. So we have simple and we have starch. Simple are generally absorbed quicker than starches because they have lower fibre, whereas starch carbohydrates have higher fibre content. And this fibre helps us feel full for longer. Similar to what I said earlier regarding the protein, fibre takes ages to break down. So when training, we want meals to be higher in fibre carbohydrates. So I always say breakfast, lunch and dinner, we want them in high fibre carbohydrates. In terms of like the day before the fight day or on fight day, we want to probably have lower fibre carbohydrates. The reason for that is we don't want to feel really full. We just want to be quite light on our feet, but still have a lot of energy. Starch carbs. So we're looking at like brown types, so like pasta, bread, brown rice, white and sweet potato, bulgur wheat, lentils and beans and oats. These are like legumes, but they're also high in fibre. They do contain some carbohydrates. Quinoa and oats, like Weetabix, etc. So we want to prioritise these in all of our main meals. In terms of simple carbs, so energy drinks such as your Lucozades, sweets, fruit is simple carbohydrates, even though it does get broken down a bit differently, so it can cross over to the starchy one a bit. Honey, jam, white bread, white pasta, white rice, low fibre cereals such as Cocoa Pops, Rice Krispies. So these are absorbed really quick. They don't make you feel really full. So therefore, these are ideal, probably maybe having it an hour before a training session or having it pre-fight, so after you've had a weigh-in as you're going to fight. And I'll touch upon that later. Main meals, your starchy carbohydrates, simple carbs, probably just before a training session to give you a little bit of fuel so you can perform at that high intensity. So timing, we want to eat starchy carbohydrates 3 to 4 hours before training sessions. So it will give you enough time for the meal to be digested and to top up your fuel stores. Sometimes this can be around 2 hours or even an hour if you train the stomach. So don't think you have your breakfast, then you can't train for 3 to 4 hours. Usually you can. Eat simple carbohydrates 30 to 60 minutes before boxing sessions and also after the first session if you're training twice per day. So that's quite important so we don't get ill, but also we're really getting energy to our muscles again, ready to work out in the same day. We want to decrease your carbohydrate intake slightly on rest days to help keep you lean. So I don't know how many sessions do they usually do per week, Brendan? So on your days you're not here, unless you're doing other types of exercise, we probably don't want to eat as much carbohydrates because you're probably not going to use them while you're sat on your bum and on your PlayStations. So your top carbohydrate tips. So if training 2 times per day, we strongly advise you to consume around 20 grams of carbohydrates within 1 hour of your first training session. This could be a banana, could be a pack of caramel Snacker Jacks, bowl of fresh fruit or a handful of dried fruit. Have high fibre carbohydrates in your main meals. So like I said, your potatoes, your rices, your whole wheat products. Low fibre carbohydrates in your pre-trained snacks. So an example might be a bit of jam on some toast, Rice Krispie bar, bit of banana merged with some honey, a naked fruit bar, or like a muller rice pudding, just to get a little snack just before we hit a training session.